What's up, BookTube? Sandy Golson back here with another video. And first thing, before I really get into this video, I want to let you know something. I got to be fully honest as I get ready to show you some of the books that are on my TBR. It's an overly ambitious list that I'm almost certainly not going to get to all of them. But I'm just going to really just give you a flavor for the kind of books that I'm looking at reading mostly over the next month and a half to 2 months. So it'll give you a little bit of a flavor for that. I got to confess, though, I've been mired in a serious reading slump. Now, part of it is because I had to have an emergency surgical procedure that pretty much wiped me out for about 2 weeks. The illness that I had before the surgery and then the recovery after the surgery, still in the process of recovering, so still not quite at 100% yet, but I'm getting there. I'm a work in progress, but then again, aren't we all? So that all aside, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of the books that I'm anticipating reading over the next month and a half, maybe 2 months, and I will give you a hint that a lot of it is related to Book of the Month. So the first three I'm going to start off with are one author that I've read before, and I've actually had good success with this author, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. So this is going to be probably one of the next 1 to 2 books that I anticipate reading if I don't try to double up, catch up, and read more than one book at a time. And that is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. Really looking forward to reading this one. I think there's a little bit of a legal drama in this, and I'm not always a big legal drama fan, but I'm still pretty interested in this book, so this is one that's definitely on my list. Next up is The Last Flight by Julie Clark. The inside cover says, 2 women, 2 flights, 1 last chance to disappear. So a little bit of a mystery going on there at the airport, plane flight, all that kind of stuff. Sounds like a really interesting book, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. This one I'm probably going to be number 3 or 4 on the list of books that I'm looking at reading right now. Lastly, in this first cluster is probably the first book that I'm going to read, or I should say the next book that I'm going to read, and that is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. And this one just sounds really, really good to me. I just got this fresh off the presses, if you will, from Book of the Month. Hold that thought. But we're not going to hold that thought. Actually, we're going to get right into it. It just is a book that sounds really, really good. It has to do with podcasting, kind of an unsolved mystery, and it just sounded really, really interesting to me. And so when I had the chance to grab this one from Book of the Month, I thought it was just one that was just too good to pass up. Now for this next cluster of 4 books, and again, back to Book of the Month. All but one of these is from Book of the Month, and that is Valentine by Elizabeth Wetmore. And this one is kind of a tough one to read. It's going to be an uncomfortable one. It's set back in the 1970s, and kind of in the oil fields of Texas, and has to do with an act of violence, but it also has issues of race and class that are kind of interwoven in the story, and it just sounded really interesting. Saw it on Book of the Month. I'd actually seen it first on Amazon, and I kind of looked at it on Amazon, and then I said, wait a minute, I think this is on Book of the Month, so I could pick it up actually cheaper on Book of the Month, so that made it kind of a no-brainer for me to pick that one up. Next up is a book that I've kind of had on my stack for a while, but I haven't had a chance to jump into it just yet. Again, the reading slump, surgery, all that stuff. So, A Good Neighborhood is one that I've been looking at. Therese Ann Fowler is the author of this particular book. What happens when you try to do the right thing, but it all goes wrong? I'm pretty sure that there's not very many people watching this video or not watching this video who can probably relate to that. Next up is another it was an add-on book for me for Book of the Month, and it was one that I've heard some people talk about, and it's maybe not normally my cup of tea, so to speak, but I thought it sounded really interesting, and I've heard enough people mention it that I thought I would go and pick it up, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I'm kind of interested in stories about, musical groups and the kind of function and dysfunction that takes place inside musical groups. You got a female lead, Daisy Jones, and some people I've heard think initially that maybe before they read it that it was actually a true story, which it's not. It's actually a novel. It's been a pretty popular book. I've heard a lot of people talking about this book, and I thought, I'm going to go ahead and try it as an add-on because it might be kind of interesting. So this is probably maybe 4th or 5th on the list of books that I have set aside to read over the next month and a half to 2 months. And lastly, stepping away from Book of the Month, I know you can hardly believe it, can you? But stepping away from Book of the Month is a book that I've talked about a little bit before on this channel. It had an interesting story that really grabbed me, and that is A Heart and a Body in the World by Deb Coletti. And this has to do with a woman who is dealing with a traumatic event that takes place, and part of her coping mechanism is this cross-country run. As you can see, the symbolism right here with the face right there, and then the tear, and then you got the runner right there. So a really nice cover there as she goes on this cross-country journey. And kind of the subhead in here is, when everything has been taken away from you, what else is there to do but run? So just sounds really interesting to me. I'm looking at it, and it's looking like a fairly quick read, a little over 300 words. So this one is pretty high up there. This might be like number 3 on my list of books that I just went through here in this TBR that I'm probably going to be looking at reading. So there you have it, 7 books that I'm looking at reading here over the next month and a half. I got to break out of this reading slump that I'm in right now and to try to persevere, push ahead. And the only way to do it is to jump right in it and start reading. So I'm going to pick a book and I'm going to just jump into it. I'm almost halfway through the month of August. So that means I got to really get going here. I've been typically reading about 6 books a month, and I have actually 0 books read right now so far in the month of August. So your boy is way behind and needs to catch up here in a hurry. So I could be looking at some Kindle books, maybe some shorter Kindle books to read to kind of pad my statistics a little bit. Yes, I'm not really above doing that. I will definitely do that if necessary, but it probably won't be necessary. But just in case, I'll leave that option open. So anyway, those are the 7 books that I'm looking at reading. I also have a video coming up here. I was tagged, the coffee tag, the coffee book tag. I need to get to that one. I got my answers down for that, so it's just a matter of filming the video, and I'm going to get to that one pretty soon. I don't know which order that these videos are going to come out in, so this one may come out before I actually shoot that video, or I might shoot the video tomorrow, which is not going to be relevant to you because who knows when I'm actually going to post this video to YouTube. So I'll just sort through all of that, and you'll see it when you see it, and hopefully it'll make sense when you actually do see it. So hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications if you are interested in BookTube and AuthorTube content, and I'll see you back here for future videos.